important job. Okay.
All right.
We're going to get started. Welcome here.
Yay.
Welcome.
We're going to get right to it.
We're going to get started, yeah. And we just want to say again just how much we appreciate each one of you, and especially taking the time out to hang out with us on the Tuesday nights. And yeah, our goal is to always to add value and to share with you things that we've been learning, and things that we feel like have added value to us. And so, yeah, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. So the topics tonight are consistency and character.
Oh no, I'm in trouble.
I'm gonna go. Bye.
Which part? All right. And both of those are things that we can work on. That's the good news. And it definitely is something that all of us have areas that we're strong in, and we all have areas that we can improve on. And so that's the good news. So talking about consistency, we're just going to highlight again the Consistency Club that Plexus has put out. I know that over and over again, just bringing across the importance of making sure we're duplicatable and using the tools that the company has. And they are doing such a great job. They keep bringing out new tools, our shareable tools in our back office as you're sharing with people. And the Consistency Club is something that's straight across the board, and it's to encourage us in our business, to grow our business, to grow our income by adding customers to our team every month. And so all of the information can be found in your back office, but I'm just going to again highlight repetition is a great thing. And so they have two levels in their Consistency Club, the 300 Consistency Club and the 500. And that is something that started retroactive to June 1st and ends March 31st. And so what they're asking us, yeah, March 31st of next year. That is right. And what they're asking us is to consistently have our goal to reach either the 300 or the 500, or to grow from the 300 to the 500 club 8 out of the 10 months from June to March. And so with the 300 Consistency Club, and so this is a great way for us, each of us, as well as a way to help our new ambassadors to start generating income right away by building up their customer base. And so the 300 Consistency Club, all they're asking us is that we have at least 300 personal volume, right? And our personal volume, as we know, is our volume plus all of our customers. So they're not asking us to be buying more product. So 300 personal volume, to have 3 existing customers, so retail or preferred, and that in any given month, we are adding 1 new customer. So 300 PV a minimum, 3 existing customers, and 1 new customer. That means we've qualified in that month for the 300 Consistency Club. Amazing. It's simple. It's something that we can literally memorize and be able to share with people and to teach them. And the 500 Consistency Club is very similar. We need 500 PV. So again, that's ours and all of our customers. That we have 500, oh my word, 5 existing customers, and add 3 new in any given month. And that would qualify you for the Consistency Club 500. So by doing that, that is us consistently sharing, consistently growing, and consistently increasing our income.
Yeah.
And so that is Plexus's way of actually putting a very simplified program together that we all can have access to and we can all achieve.
Yeah.
And
hi, Chantal.
Hey. All right. And so as I have been doing, I think pretty much every Zoom is referring to our success guide. Again, I say every week, let's be duplicatable. Let's use the tools the company provides for us, and let's share them with our ambassadors. And there is so much great information in there. So I'm going to reference chapter 2, and there's a section on page 16 that talks about creating consistency. And so this is what it says in the success guide. Creating a successful business, no matter what that business is a lot of work. As fantastic as the Plexus opportunity is, your success will not magically appear. I know I would like that sometimes, but it's going to take work. And most Plexus ambassadors begin by focusing 10 to 15 hours of income-producing activity per week. So it's going to take us working our business every day, right? But 10 to 15 hours is not a lot. And so even if that's the goal to reach that, that is very doable. It's been said that you can work your business part-time, but not sometime. So again, part-time is consistently, let's say 5 days a week, right? And we do something every day. That would be considered part-time. But sometime would be, do something 1 week, and then 2 weeks later, I should probably post, and then you post every day, and then you take another week off, and that would be considered sometime. And just the importance of consistency. It's important for us because that actually shows our commitment and our value, but if people are watching and they're going to see that same thing. So they need to see consistency. It is a basic law of physics that a body in motion tends to stay in motion. Likewise, the momentum you create in your business can continue. Look at it like this, and they give us an example. You're pushing a rock and you're beginning to gain speed, but then you stop. It's harder to get that rock going again than it is to keep it going once you've got it in motion. And that's how your business works too.
No, us cavemen know how that works.
Pushing rocks up a hill?
Pushing rocks up a hill.
Awesome. All right, and one more thing that they have here. So consistency with the Consistency Club and consistency in our business is about growing our customer base, right? And so in Chapter 7, on page 65, it actually gives us an example of how to create a perfect 10 weeks. So again, it's giving us a formula, so we don't have to figure it out. I love that. We're not having to reinvent anything. We're not having to figure it out. They actually have systems in place that we can actually access. And so on page 65, it gives you an example of a perfect 10 week. And what that means is 10 activities that you can literally, so if you follow this and you're looking, it's like, okay, what have I done this week? Okay, what do I still need to do? Like you can follow this formula. And so a perfect 10 week that they give us for doing income producing activities is share the Plexus products with 3 people. That we can do. This is in a week. This isn't in a day. Can you imagine if you did it every day? But this is in a week. So sharing the Plexus products with 3 people. Share the Plexus opportunity with 3 people, right? So just be talking about the business with 3 people. Share your skills with 3 team members. And I know our team is great about that, about connecting with each other behind the scenes, because it doesn't even have to be an actual planned event. Exactly. I love hearing people saying, I talked with so-and-so and they encouraged me with this, or they shared that they did this, right? So it's sharing and partnering and sharing our gifts and our skills, what's working, and encouraging each other. And then participating in one Plexus event. And this is in 1 week. So guess what, guys? That one you're doing right now. If you have no other events you've done, you've done that one.
Pretty good doing in July.
Yes.
Summer holidays,
good job,
man, you guys rock.
And so it just says in here, so with the perfect 10 page on page 65, it says, sponsoring opportunities are everywhere. So it's just really encouraging us to be aware, to be listening. And so it says here, our philosophy about sponsoring or welcoming new ambassadors to Plexus is simple. Be a farmer, not a hunter. More than ever, sponsoring is where the relationships you've built with your customers will be important. Converting customers to ambassadors should always be top of mind for you. During the entire relationship with your customers, you've been cultivating their interest in the opportunity, not hunting for new ambassadors. How different these 2 approaches are. Hunting for prospects and tracking them down, that sounds scary, versus planting seeds and cultivating interest and nurturing growth. And so in there, so again, it just, the things that the guy kind of highlighted from there was that you're cultivating their interest when you're sharing with people. Just be cultivating, just be valuing people. You're planting seeds and you're nurturing growth in them. It's just about valuing and listening. And so just on the next page, I'm not going to read it, but on the next page, it kind of gives you examples of just being aware and listening, because opportunities to share with people are happening every day. And I know I'm guilty of sometimes just having my blinders on and just getting my day done. But there's also times where I do kind of hear an opportunity, but I don't necessarily take it. And then there are times where, you know what, I'm just on the ball and I'm like, yeah, this person said this and I have an answer for them. So the opportunities are happening every day for us. And so it's just to become aware of those.
And a cool way of being aware of those opportunities is, you know, we're getting a TELUS internet hooked up tomorrow, finally in our new place. But TELUS guy came, well, he randomly came to our house. We actually didn't call yet, so that was kind of interesting. But this guy showed up at our door, and he ended up being a TELUS guy. So we ended up booking with him. But he was so nice. He's just a tech guy, but he actually came into our house anyways, because he actually came to the wrong door. But we needed to hook up anyways. So he actually came in, sat down, we talked. He was actually from Manitoba, from where we're from. And he actually opened up his computer, set up our schedule, a date to hook up and everything. The guy was really cool. And you know what? And then he even left us his business card. He says, I normally don't do this, but here's my business card. But you know, I was thinking, you know, that'd be really nice to send that guy a thank you present, because he was just so nice. And we'll send him a little Plexus gift of some sort, and you know, he'll be awesome. It'll be fun. So let's just be creative.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, just look for those opportunities to share, for sure. So in sharing Plexus, we're cultivating interest in them, we're planting seeds, and we're nurturing growth. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we're sharing Plexus, but we're actually selling ourselves, right? People will ultimately choose to buy and trust you because you've actually you've shared the best part of you, and you have the character, and so that they're going to trust you, because before they try Plexus for themselves, they're choosing to trust what you've said. They're taking you at your word. And so that kind of leads us into the personal development part. Because ultimately it all rests on our character and our personal development. We can have skills, we can have all the knowledge about all the products, we could list off all the ingredients and stuff, but if personally people don't feel like they can trust us, and we don't have the character for them to actually want to hear what we're saying and receive what we're saying.
So a good attitude so is important. And I can't, maybe somebody can say the right saying, but that one that's people don't care until they know.
So people don't care what you say until they know
that how much you care, right? And you know, and I've got a great example. Can I give the example of when I had a flooring business about, you know, character versus skill. When I had a flooring business in Manitoba, and then one of my installers, I hired this installer, and I ended up calling him Cycle Bill, and I'll tell you why. Because he was a good installer, and his white dude, big afro, white hair, you know, glasses, looked kind of interesting, but he was a great installer. But he had one little problem. He had a wee bit of a temper. So I had a customer call one day and said, I don't ever want that guy, his name is Bill, I don't ever want that guy coming back to my house. He pretty much had a fit over at the customer's house. And then, okay, well, that wasn't good. But then where I actually ended up firing him, because he came in one day and he says, man, somebody's cut me off, stopped me. So I stopped at the light. I got out, and I went to his door, and I smashed his window out with my fist, and it was bleeding. And I figured, you know what? You're a great carpet installer, but I don't think we can work together, because it's just not healthy for anybody. So you know what? Our character, it's important. It's it's pretty important.
No, definitely.
So that's a pretty extreme example, but it was a true.
Right.
It's a true story.
He was good at what he did, except his character.
Yeah, he had problems.
Yeah, no, that's important. So I'm actually going to share. So part of personal development, there's lots of different ways. I'm sure each one of you are finding ways to be developing yourself, dealing with any areas that maybe we need to work on. Let's say, like Bill had a temper. We all have our different areas, and areas that we know we need to grow in. And so there's different ways. We've talked about reading different books, videos, having a mentor, somebody to have you, to encourage you, to speak life into you, to hold you accountable for different goals and things that you're wanting to work on. And so it's important to find those different ways. One of the ways that I work on my personal development is I receive emails from a few different places. And one of them, and I've shared this link before, it's called Leadership Freak, and a gentleman named Dan Rockwell. And one of the emails he sent out was talking about, and actually I shared it today. I'm not sure if any of you had a chance to read it yet, but I'm going to highlight some of the things in there because it actually was talking about character. And the title of the post from him was "The Secret to Your Future." It says, "Your character is your future. Leadership is first a character and then a skill." And then there was another quote, and it says, "Knowledge comes from books, but you find what you lack in the trials of life." And I know we actually don't like to have difficulties. I don't think any of us are like super excited about the trials of life, or the frustrations or the difficulties or the things that aren't working out in the timeline that we would like, or even dealing with people, difficult people.
Or get your buttons pushed.
Yes, people pushing your buttons.
How's it going? What's going on?
But that is actually, in those times is when actually our character comes out, and we actually find out the areas that maybe we need to work on. And so in that post it said, what is character? Because, how would you define it? And so it actually gives a couple of examples of how we can find out what our character is. So character is the attitudes and actions you resort to when you're stressed. Ouch.
So take your edge. Take your edge, man.
So what comes out in those times when you're stressed, right? I know for me, it can be a lack of patience. I can get frustrated. And so those would be areas, especially with patience, I know for me, is when I'm stressed, when things aren't working out, or I'm getting stressed by an individual. And so the other way, the other statement about what is character is the way you act when no one's looking, right? It's that consistency. It's when nobody is looking, am I consistently the same as when I know people are watching me? And that is actually our true character. And
it's like Cyndi Lauper singing Cyndi Lauper, "True Colors,"
Are you going to sing?
And that comes up. I'm by myself. No.
You sing by yourself?
Yes. I sing by myself.
All right. And so that's just, it's just something to kind of be aware of, and to know that we all have our areas that are areas of, I don't want to call them weak areas, but areas that need to be strengthened. And they do come out. I know mine come out when I'm going through a difficult time. Then it's kind of like, oh, that wasn't so good, right? Or even just attitudes. Even if I don't say anything, even my attitude. And so what are those attitudes that...
The look.
The look. I give the look. I do have a look. I do have a look. And so also in that post, he talked about the 6 essential character traits of successful leaders. And so I'm going to just list them off, and then we're just going to talk a little bit about that. So he talks about humility, talks about integrity, self-control, courage, love, and optimism. So those are the 6 things that he talks about that he believes are essential to successful leaders. And so in those 6 essential traits of successful leaders, which ones have you developed? Which ones would you consider areas that are part of your character? And maybe which ones still need to be developed? And I would just really encourage you to focus, on that list, and maybe, because I know for me, just like even with the self-control, which I kind of go with the patience, right? Would be something that just to kind of, you don't get down on yourself, but to focus on areas that that you want to be working on. And also it would be interesting for any of you. So there's that list of 6, and I'm going to read them again. But what are things that maybe you think are missing from that successful leaders have? And I know for me, so patience wasn't listed on there, and I think patience for me would be one that I would think a successful leader needs to have, as well as being organized. And so being organized, that's not necessarily something that you're super strong in, but recognizing, I think that's an important skill that then you would, as a successful leader, you would surround yourself with someone or someones who could fill in that gap. Because being organized and goes along with being consistent, right? And so one of the ways, well, there's a few ways you can help yourself to develop in those different areas that that aren't your strong areas in your character. And so you could do reading books. You can read books about people that you admire that are successful leaders with those character traits. And you can have an actual mentor that you see those strengths in them so that they can actually speak into that and speak into your life. And another way that we've been told in different areas, and I know for some of us who were doing the leadership retreat race, is talked about doing affirmations. And so I have a couple of affirmations that I'm going to share. And so to write the affirmations in the present tense, that even though that may be an area you're not strong in yet, but you write it out in the present tense that is who you are, and you reinforce that, and it actually starts to change your belief system about who you are. And as you change your belief system, it starts to change your actions and your responses in those areas. So one of them is being organized. I do have some organization skills, but not necessarily the follow through all the time. And so this is one of my affirmations. I don't know if it's going to be backwards, but it says, I finish what I start. I am organized. So writing it in the present tense, I finish what I start. Do I always do that now? No, but this is my goal. This is my goal, and so I write it in the present tense, and I own that, right? And another one is just communicating clearly, communicating with clarity. And especially for me, I know that one of the areas I avoid conflict, and conflict isn't a bad thing. Conflict can be just two people that, just respect each other and have the utmost honor for each other. But we're not always going to see exactly eye to eye on things. And to realize it's actually okay to communicate about that, and actually just to come to an understanding. Not that we're going to agree about everything, but come to an understanding. And I know that is an area that I've been working on, but I know I still need to work on it, because I do tend to avoid conflict, right? Which I know a lot of us do. And so I have an affirmation that goes with that. It says, I communicate with boldness and clarity, whether I'm teaching or facing conflict. And so I would just encourage you just to find the different ways to work on the areas of your character, because your character really is the foundation for all the skills that you learn, like learning the products, learning the compensation plan, learning the compliance rules. All of those things are skills. Learning to share your elevator speech, learning to communicate your why. Those are all skills. But those are going to be built on the foundation of your character. So it's really important to take the time to invest in your character. So I'm actually going to read a couple of quotes. One of them, the first one is from Helen Keller, and I'm sure most of you are aware of who she is. She was blind, deaf, and mute. And yet she went on to write books. And so this is actually a quote that is from her. And it says, "Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, ambition inspired, and success achieved." Because it's actually in those hard times, like we said before, that's actually where our true character comes out. And so it's not, again, to beat ourselves up, but it's like when we're going through stuff and it's like, oh, I still need to work on that. But there are ways to do that. There are ways to grow. There are ways to develop our character. And there's one more quote that I want to read, and it's from Maya Angelou, and I'm not sure who that is. I didn't have time to research who this person is. But the quote from her is, "You may encounter defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it." Right? So for those of us who are Christians or whatever, or who have our faith and we reference the Bible, it actually talks about that. And for a lot of us, that's not our favorite verse. It talks about count it joy when you face trials. Count it joy. Be happy about it. And we're like, what? But you know what? It's because it's when we're going through difficult times that our real heart comes out. And again, it's not so that we can beat ourselves up and think, oh, I suck. I'm not a good leader. I'm not this. I'm not that. It's to say, okay, this is an area that I need to work on. And so there are ways of doing that.
That's the saying, the old saying of, we're all diamonds in the rough.
That's right.
So we're all being polished. Polishing doesn't always feel good, but
no,
it's worth it in the end.
That's right. That's right.
Stick it out.
That's definitely right. So again, I'm going to just read through the list of the traits of a successful leader as, what was his name again? As Don Rockwell itemized in his email. And so the 6 of them are humility, integrity, self-control, courage, love, and optimism. So I would like you to just be kind of like thinking about those. And as I said before, maybe there's 1 or 2 that kind of jumped out and you're like, yeah, I need to work on that. I need to work on that. And when you invest in yourself, in your personal development, the return is so great. It's not only going to affect your business, it's going to affect your relationships, whether you're married or not, being a grandparent, being a parent, being a good friend, being a business partner. Our character development actually influences everything that we do. So just focusing on those areas. And actually, I'm really curious because I kind of shared a couple that aren't on this list that I feel are important, that I would consider to be essential. And I know Randy's going to post this video once we're done, and we're almost finished. And I would love for you guys to just comment. Maybe there are some qualities and character traits that you find are essential, whether it's for yourself or in leaders that you know, that you've experienced. And sometimes we find out what's really important by having a not so healthy leader and realizing that, like for example, one of the things that I've experienced in an unhealthy leader is insecurity. And insecurity, it's damaging to the leader that's leading, but it's also damaging to those that are needing to look to that leader. And so just that, what would be the opposite of insecurity? Just being
confident.
Just being confident in yourself. And it's not a pride thing. It's not lording it over people, but it's just having that strong inner strength of who you are, owning and celebrating who you are and what you're good at, and then admitting when there are areas that you need to work on and being willing to be teachable. But that confidence is so important.
Is also a peaceful thing to have.
It is, yeah.
And then you come across as a peaceful person so that we can just, we're genuinely just want to help the customer and what their needs are, and they'll sense that.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. So I would really love to hear from you. What are some strengths maybe that aren't listed in that 6 that you think and you feel really strongly that those would be essential character traits? And so I'd love to hear back from you guys about that.
Yeah, just make some comments, suggestions, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this up soon. So yeah, we just want to thank you guys again so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Next time, make sure somebody brings that ice cap. So,
So they drink it in front of you?
Don't forget, drink it in front of me. Yeah, I might show up
coffee.
at your house with one, we got to drive that way. And then, and you know what? That consistency club that Plexus put together for us is so cool of them to do that.
Yeah.
So it makes our life so much easier.
Yeah.
And even our new ambassadors that do want to make a little extra money, it makes it actually a little more easier and fun for them, because it's really, helping them just share some great news of what some of the products are doing, and people can just start as a customer, preferred, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you know what? Plexus rewards us all the different ways of how we help people. So it really takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
And some people, like I'm loving the X Factor. The more I'm learning about the X Factor, the more I'm loving that thing. And and even if people just start with the X Factor, I think they'll get great results. So just keeping it simple, keeping it easy, and just really wanting to make a difference in other people's life, right? Because we want to become better person, as Lisa talked about. So as we grow in our character, that will shine and influence others to want to be better too. Yeah. And that we can just speak value into them, and that they will want to take better care of themselves as well. And Plexus actually, in the physical side, Plexus makes that quite easy, and I'm learning how great they actually are at that, because they don't have to be ambassador. They can if they want, but they can even be a customer, and they can buy a lot of stuff, or they can buy one thing. It really doesn't matter. Plexus has made it so simple that way. So I'm really learning to appreciate that more and more. So when I run into people, I can be just, as we're listening to them, because that's the key, is listening to what they actually are looking for. It's simple just to make some simple suggestions then. We talk to somebody, and they might just start with probiotics. That's awesome, because they got problems with their immune system. Well, that's a great start. And you know what? And as a customer, that's a simple thing for them to start with. But as they use the products, most of the time people are getting results, so then they'll want to keep growing in their knowledge of more. They'll want to know more about Plexus as time goes on. So yeah, just want to thank you guys for being on the Tonight Show, the zooming with the FROOMS, and just wait, 5 years from now, we're all going to be, worldwide, national, and you guys can all be, hey, I was there, I've been there, I was there, so, and we're all going to be famous, so it's going to be awesome. And so just let you guys go with that. And Lisa's laughing.
So weird.
She's giving me the look now.
I gave him the look.
She gave me the look. So anyways, it's time for me to.
No, so we do appreciate you guys. So have a great night. Thank you for hanging out with us. And yeah, I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your comments on what you think are essential character traits for successful leaders. Yeah,
love you guys. Keep loving the people around you, and keep helping the world. You guys are doing awesome. You're rocking it out.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, y'all. Good night.
Thanks, guys.